Speculation over Deval Patrick's political future has been media catnip for years. And this week, the governor made headlines by saying he might run for national office. But was it really new? WGBH News political reporter Adam Riley has more.
During a recent trip to Washington, Deval Patrick chatted with the website Politico and was asked about running for national office down the road. As the governor put it, maybe. Back in Massachusetts, those comments were a big deal.
Breaking news in the world of politics tonight. Governor Deval Patrick signaling for the first time that he might run for president.
When you say maybe, I think what you need is definitely maybe.
But if that is what Patrick meant, it's actually nothing new. Here's the governor talking about his post-Beacon Hill future back in 2012.
If there's a time, sometime later, to come back and serve in public life, I hope I'm able to do that.
And here he is in January on WGBH's Boston Public Radio.
I am not running for anything else.
Okay.
But it's not going to stop you. Well, maybe one day, but not...
Oh, okay, fine.
Of course, Patrick made his latest comments in Washington to an outlet with a national audience. But if that explains why they made headlines, it doesn't make them news.
So will the press ever tire of pressing potential presidential contenders? Joining me to hash it out are Tom Fiedler of Boston University, John Keller of WBZ, Kelly Crossley of WGBH News, and Dan Kennedy of Northeastern University. Well, I'm looking right at you, John, of course, because Deval Patrick likes to play this. It's a parlor game almost, and he does it with amusement. He says things in a coy way, and he knows it's going to set off this chain reaction. But I thought this was gross overkill because all the local stations picked it up as if it was absolutely brand new when it wasn't at all.
Well, first of all, what politician in their right mind would emphatically rule out something so distant and off in the future? Plus, by keeping the prospect of a future run alive, it allows him to use his campaign funds more freely than he otherwise would. So there's a technical reason for it. But, this has been going on for 6 years. I'd say it started about 2 years into his first term. And even though he emphatically said he was going to serve out his time in office, and then when he ran for re-election, he promised to serve out the second term. Apparently, no one believes him. Whatever else you might say about Governor Patrick, he's not a liar. He told the truth. He's always stuck to that. And the problem I have with it, you're right, it's catnip. And we love to speculate about that. But I think we go overboard sometimes speculating and wasting our time with the ambitions of political figures who may or may not be worthy of higher office. It just encourages them. I really think we should stop it.
I think that there is a larger media story here, and that is the continued obsession of the media with any Massachusetts politician. They figure, oh, New Hampshire's right across the border, they can run, they'll get a big head start. I mean, we're seeing it now, just not with Governor Patrick, but with Senator Elizabeth Warren, former Senator Scott Brown. I mean, maybe he'll run for Senate New Hampshire, but maybe he'll run for president.
Don't forget John Kerry.
Well, John Kerry did run, but now I see his name is coming up again. It's absurd. No, John Kerry is the only person who's even come close to being elected president since John F. Kennedy, out of all the Massachusetts people you can think of. And many, many, many of them have run. And it seems that the ones who don't, all we hear from the media is, well, they must be thinking about it. Well, maybe they're not.
Well, there is a larger media story here, and what it is that we are lemmings to certain larger publications. Politico is one. If the New York Times had printed the same story and said he said maybe, same reaction. Sorry to say it, we're just little lemmings if certain people say it. New York Daily News, maybe not so much. Politico, New York Times, absolutely.
That's true.
And the timing, too. This is we're about to enter that hothouse period where all this speculation is going to happen. There's probably 20 other governors in other states that are having the same thing happen with their local press. As soon as they say something that may indicate they're interested in running in any way, that you'll see the same reaction everywhere else. But I think John's point is right. There's a strategic reason why he would at least want to try to remain somewhat viable. That gives him a little bit more clout going forward. People may be a little cautious about trying to cross him. And the other part is, every person who's been in public life knows that if that door opens down the road, maybe it's vice president, maybe it's something else, maybe it's U.S. Senate, who knows, you don't want to have somewhere yourself on tape having said, I will never, ever run for office again. So I think he just is, this is just, let's be careful.
Playing it coy, like I said.
Be coy.